Hey.
Alright, Joe, I just wrapped up watching the preseason action between the Suns and the Nuggets from Sunday night, and I get it, it's preseason, we're not supposed to be taking these games with too much importance and with a grain of salt, but I do have to say it was very impressive for the Suns to win this game, considering the fact that their best 7 players rested and the Nuggets were playing at mostly full strength. I say mostly because the only Nuggets player to log more than 30 minutes was Julian Strawther. Jamal Murray also sat out the second half. But again, the Suns were missing arguably their top 7 players. Anyway, I say all this because at this point last season, the Phoenix Suns were regarded as a good team. But in hindsight, they were really just their 3 star players, a few decent role guys like Nurkic and Royce O'Neal, and then a whole lot of, maybe this guy can give you something, maybe not, probably not. So to be at this point this year, where the Suns can play a game, again, without most of their usual rotational guys, and still, put up a good fight, let alone win against a Denver Nuggets team mostly playing at full strength, it just shows that this is actually a legit Phoenix Suns team and not just some mosh posh of random NBA talent put together. And so yes, this video is about the Phoenix Suns and why I am excited for them for the coming season. But to be completely honest with y'all, I'm really only making this video to talk about Ryan Dunn. For those of you unfamiliar with Dunn, he was the 28th overall pick in the most recent NBA draft. And again, I'm not a draft guy, but from what I had heard, he was essentially the Matisse Thybulle of this year's NBA draft, meaning that he was one of the best defensive prospects that the NBA has ever seen, but he had about a 0 on offense. But since this game happened, Ryan Dunn has been a very hot topic, especially over on NBA Twitter, as he made 6 threes out of 11 attempts in this game. And across the entire preseason, he has made 12 threes in 27 attempts, which is crazy. It won't make sense if you're unfamiliar with Ryan Dunn, but there was also this other stat going around on Twitter where Dunn only made 7 threes total in his 34 games that he played for Virginia last year. So compare that to this most recent game where he shot 6 of 11 on an NBA court. And it's just been a crazy 180 turnaround in terms of his offensive abilities. And the Phoenix Suns coaching staff must have just seen something that they knew how to fix in his jump shot during the draft cycle, because again, his jump shot looks new, it looks clean, he's knocking down catch and shoot opportunities with ease, he's getting the jumpers off quick, he's spacing to the corners, to the wings, top of the key. There was even one play wwhere he ISO'd up on Nikola Jokic and hit a step back 3, which I don't want to, if that's something that can continue to happen throughout his career as he progresses in the NBA, then who even knows what the ceiling is for Ryan Dunn. But regardless, even if he is just able to continue the ability to space the floor and hit open threes for his rookie season, that is going to be a huge boost to this Phoenix Suns team, having a legit 3-and-D guy that they could trust off the bench to support Beal, Booker, KD, and their other starting players. And I say that because the defense is as advertised. He is a very special player on that end of the floor. Could definitely see a future where he earns multiple all-defensive team opportunities and awards. Not only does he have the physical abilities and long wingspan that allows him to, poke the ball away from ball handlers or just clamp up on drives, be able to slide really well on the perimeter, or block shot attempts that don't look like they should be blocked. But he also just has really good IQ on the defensive side of the ball. His positioning is great. He's really good at jumping into passing lanes. He even had one possession where he stopped essentially a 1-on-2 in transition by guarding the ball, then closing out onto the shooter 1 pass away. There was even a quote from Bradley Beal that came out a couple days ago where Bradley Beal basically said that whenever Ryan Dunn is on the court, he's going to be guarding the other team's best player. And just the fact that you have, one of the best players / leaders on this team already putting that much faith into a rookie that's yet to log a real NBA minute is crazy. And even just from a general eye test, in the fourth quarter of this game, Nuggets bench was in for the entirety of the fourth quarter. Julian Strawther played pretty much the entire way through. And there was just such a stark difference between how Ryan Dunn was able to clamp him up as opposed to the couple of minutes when Dunn was on the bench. All that to say that Ryan Dunn is an exceptional defender. He even had a few possessions in this game where he was able to show off the passing skills a little bit, and even though they're by no means, outstanding or good or great, he does have the ability to, hit the roll man, make the right pass, all those good things you love to see from a connective wing. Overall, he just always seems to have emphasis with everything he does on the basketball court. Every move is intentional. He's always putting in the most work possible, and those are all things that I can appreciate. And there were a few other standout players from this game for the Phoenix Suns that I enjoyed watching play. One of those guys was another fellow rookie, Ighodaro. He's been getting some hype during the preseason because he is a big. The Suns have been running him as a 4 or 5 off the bench so far in the preseason, and he just has really good ball skills for a big. There are a few plays where he was taking the ball up the court, making some nice passes in transition, had a few really awesome fake handoffs that would lead to either buckets or assists or just great shots in general for the team. And then similar to Dunn, he just also has really good IQ on the defensive side of the ball. Had one play where he had some really good help defense to help force a miss on a Michael Porter Jr. drive, and then he even stood up one-on-one in the post against the reigning MVP and cookied his shit. Also want to give a shout out to Bull, who had a pretty solid game in the spot start. He finished with 14 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 4 of 6 from 3. Also has had some really, nice nifty passes that only someone like Bull can make because of his height and janky wingspan and just the awkward way that he moves with the ball. So yeah, he might not be, as good as everyone expects him to be, but he's still a very fun player to watch at the very least. And of course, I also had to give a shout out to my man Mason Plumlee. He is, again, I think I've said it in a previous video, but him being added to this team as the backup center over Drew Eubanks is such an upgrade that no one is talking about. And I might even like him more than Nurkic in some games this season, and would not be surprised if he's, and playing in like the crunch time over Nurkic, depending on if he's having a good game or not. Regardless, I remain very excited for what this Phoenix Suns team is going to look like this year. Just straight, bold prediction right here, right now. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they finish as high as the 2 seed in the Western Conference, but at the same time, I also wouldn't be too surprised if they finish like 7th and end up in the play-in just because of how stacked this Western Conference is. Regardless, it is very nice to see the job that this front office has done. Again, to go from last year where they made the trade for Bradley Beal and gutted their entire roster to have those 3 all-star, star-level guys, to now fast forward exactly 1 year, and they actually have a pretty solid rotation built around them. Again, with guys like Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Josh Okogie, Ryan Dunn, Mason Plumlee, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, Bull, Ighodaro. Like, those are a bunch of guys who look like they could be legit NBA rotational players. And again, I know it's the preseason, and again, we're supposed to take things with a grain of salt, but to see this Phoenix Suns essentially, B team go out and beat the Denver Nuggets playing at like 80% strength is a really good sign if you're a Phoenix Suns fan. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those good things, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.